The United States and Israel have just launched coordinated military strikes on Iran. Tehran has already fired back. And now, according to Reuters, Dubai International Airport has sustained damage from an Iranian missile strike. This is no longer a contained exchange. This is the moment a shadow war risks becoming a regional one. Here's what just happened, and what it means next. Early this morning, U.S. and Israeli forces conducted coordinated strikes on Iranian military targets. Reports indicate missile launch sites, air defense systems, and command infrastructure were targeted. This was not symbolic, this was strategic degradation. The message was clear: remove Iran's ability to project force quickly. But here's the problem: when you strike a state actor directly, you remove the buffer. Now it becomes state versus state. Iran did not wait. Missiles and drones were launched toward Israeli territory. But the escalation didn't stop there. Iran expanded retaliation toward Gulf states hosting U.S. military assets. That changes the map entirely, because now the battlefield is widening. According to Reuters, Dubai International Airport sustained damage from an Iranian missile strike, with injuries reported. If this holds, this is a strategic shift. Airports are civilian infrastructure. Dubai is one of the busiest aviation hubs on the planet. Striking it sends a signal. Economic arteries are now in play, and once economic arteries are targeted, markets react, governments react, militaries reposition. The UAE has long balanced diplomacy and security partnerships. But if Iranian missiles are landing on Emirati soil, neutrality collapses. This pulls Gulf states deeper into the confrontation, which means the U.S. is no longer defending just Israel. It may now be defending the Gulf order itself. And that raises the escalation ceiling dramatically. Now zoom out. Nearly a third of global seaborne oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz. If Iran feels cornered, it has one asymmetric lever. The primary goal here is disruption. This strategy is not about invasion. And it is certainly not about occupation. The lever is simply disruption. Even limited interference would spike oil prices and rattle global markets within hours. That's how regional wars become global economic shocks. 1. Contained retaliation, followed by diplomatic backchanneling. 2. Sustained missile exchanges across multiple fronts. 3. Proxy groups activate simultaneously in Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. If the third scenario unfolds, this becomes multi-theater conflict. And once multiple fronts ignite, de-escalation becomes much harder. There is another layer here. If Iranian strategic sites were significantly degraded, Tehran could respond by accelerating nuclear enrichment. And they are not necessarily announcing it, but quietly shortening breakout timelines. That would shift this from conventional war risk, moving toward a nuclear threshold crisis. And that changes the calculus for Washington, and for regional powers watching closely. First, we must watch Moscow and its strategic positioning. And then we must watch Beijing as it calculates its interests. Neither wants open war in the Gulf, but neither wants unchecked U.S. military dominance either. This is where geopolitical fault lines widen. If diplomatic camps form around this conflict, we move from regional escalation to a new and dangerous era of global polarization. In the next 48 hours, watch for additional Iranian missile waves, U.S. reinforcement of Gulf bases. Watch for oil price spikes in the markets. Emergency UN Security Council meetings. Watch for proxy mobilization signals across the region. If retaliation slows, there may be space for de-escalation. If strikes expand, we are entering a new Middle East phase. This is no longer shadow conflict. It's escalation in motion. And the key question is not who fired first. It's how far this spreads. Subscribe for escalation analysis, not just headlines. Because in moments like this, consequences matter more than sound bites.